Today I'm going to give you a lesson on what Chanukah is all about. The significance is to remember the rededication of the temple after it was defiled by the Greeks. Observance, lighting candles. Length, 8 days. And customs, eating fried foods and playing with the dreidel, the top. This is a dreidel. Okay. Chanukah, the Jewish festival of rededication, also known as the Festival of Lights, is an 8-day festival beginning on the 25th day of the Jewish month of Kislev. Chanukah is probably one of the best-known Jewish holidays, not because of any great religious significance, but because of its proximity to Christmas. Many non-Jews, and even many assimilated Jews, think of this holiday as the Jewish Christmas, adopting many of the Christmas customs, such as elaborate gift-giving and decoration. It is bitterly ironic that this holiday, which has its roots in a revolution against assimilation and the suppression of Jewish religion, has become the most assimilated secular holiday on our calendar. Now the story of Chanukah. The story of Chanukah begins in the reign of Alexander the Great. Alexander conquered Syria, Egypt, and Palestine, but allowed the lands under his control to continue observing their own religion and retain a certain degree of autonomy. Under this relatively benevolent rule, many Jews assimilated much of Hellenistic culture, adopting the language, the customs, and the dress of the Greeks, in which the same way that Jews in America today blend into the secular American society. More than a century later, a successor of Alexander, Antiochus IV, was in control of the region. He began to oppress the Jews severely, placing a Hellenistic priest in the temple, massacring Jews, prohibiting the practice of the Jewish religion, and desecrating the temple by requiring the sacrifice of pigs, a non-kosher animal, to the altar. Two groups opposed Antiochus. A basically nationalistic group led by Matthias the Hasmonean and his son Judah Maccabee, and a religious traditionalist group known as the Hasidim, the forerunners of the Pharisees. No direct connection to the modern movement known as Hasidim. They joined forces in a revolt against both the assimilation of the Hellenistic Jews and oppression by the Seleucid Greek government. The revolution succeeded and the temple was rededicated. According to tradition, as recorded in the Talmud, at the time of the rededication, there was very little oil left that had not been defiled by the Greeks. Oil was needed for the menorah, the candelabrum in the temple. Which was supposed to burn throughout the night, every night. There was only enough oil to burn for 1 day. Yet miraculously it burned for 8 days, the time needed to prepare a fresh supply of oil for the menorah. An 8-day festival was dedicated to commemorate this miracle. Note that the holiday commemorates the miracle of the oil, not the military victory. Jews do not glorify war. Now we come to the traditions. Chanukah is not a very important religious holiday. The holiday's religious significance is far less than that of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Passover, and Shavuot. It is roughly equivalent to Purim in significance, and you won't find many non-Jews who have ever heard of Purim. Chanukah is not mentioned in Jewish scripture. The story is related in the book of Maccabees, which Jews do not accept as scripture. The only religious observance related to the holiday is the lighting of candles. The candles are arranged in a candelabrum called a menorah, or sometimes called a Chanukiah, that holds 9 candles, one for each night, plus a shamas, the servant, at a different height. On the first night, 1 candle is placed in the far right. The shamas candle is lit and 3 blessings are recited. Lahadlik ner, a general prayer over candles. She'asa nisim, a prayer thanking Yah for performing miracles for our ancestors at this time, and Shehigianu, a general prayer thanking Yah for allowing us to reach this time of the year. For the full text of these blessings, please see Chanukah candle lighting blessings. After reciting the blessings, the first candle is then lit using the shamash candle, and the shamash candle is placed in its holder. Candles can be lit any time after dark but before midnight. The candles are normally allowed to burn out on their own after a minimum of a half an hour, but if necessary they can be blown out at any time after that half an hour. On Shabbat, Chanukah candles are normally lit before the Shabbat candles, but may be lit any time before candle lighting time. Candles cannot be blown out on Shabbat. It is a violation of the Shabbat rule against igniting or extinguishing a flame. Because the Chanukah candles must remain burning until a minimum of half hour after dark, about 90 minutes total burning time on Shabbat, some candles won't get the job done. On one of the earlier nights, you might want to make sure your candles last long enough. If they don't, you might want to use something else for Chanukah on Shabbat, such as tea lights or even Shabbat candles. Each night, another candle is added from right to left, like the Hebrew language. Candles are lit from left to right because you pay honor to the newer thing first. On the 8th night, all candles, the 8 Chanukah candles and the shamash, are lit. On nights after the first night, only the first 2 blessings are recited. The third blessing, Shehigianu, is only recited on the first night of holidays. Why the shamash candle? The Chanukah candles are for pleasure only. We are not allowed to use them for any productive purpose. We keep an extra one around, the shamash, so that if we need to do something useful with a candle, we don't accidentally use the Chanukah candles. The shamash, called so-called candle is a different height so that it is easily identified as the shamas. It is a tradition to eat fried foods on Chanukah because of the significance of the oil on the holiday. Among Ashkenazi Jews, this usually includes latkes, pronounced lotkes or lotkis, depending on where your grandmother came from. Pronounced potato pancakes if you are a goy. And she says my recipe is included later on in this page. Gift giving is not a traditional part of the holiday, but has been added in places where Jews have a lot of contact with Christians as a way of dealing with our children's jealousy of their Christian friends. Makes sense? It is extremely unusual for Jews to give Chanukah gifts to anyone other than their own young children. The only traditional gift of the holiday is geld, small amounts of money. Chanukah geld. Heard of Chanukah geld? Another tradition of the holiday is playing dreidels, a gambling game played with a square top. Most people play for matchsticks, pennies, M&Ms, or chocolate coins. The traditional explanation of this game is that during the time of Antiochus' oppression, those who wanted to study Torah, an illegal activity, would conceal their activity by playing gambling games with a top, whenever an official or inspector was in sight. Okay. Let me just show you. Ooh, not enough hands. A dreidel is marked with 4 Hebrew letters. There they are, if you can see them. Nun, Gimel, Hey, and Shin. These letters stand for the Hebrew phrase, Nes Gadol Haya Sham, a great miracle happened there, referring to the miracle of the oil. The letter also stands for the Yiddish words nit, nothing, ganz, all, halb, half, and stel, put. I'm learning. Which are the rules of the game. There are some variations in the way people play the game, but the way I learned it, everyone puts in a coin. A person spins the dreidel, it lands on nun, nothing happens. On gimel, or as we called it as kids, gimme, okay? You get the whole pot. On hay, you get half of the pot, and on shin, you put in one. When the pot is empty, everybody puts one in. Keep playing until one person has everything. Then redivide it because nobody likes a poor winner. Okay, with that, I say Chag Sameach, Happy Chanukah. Oh, thank God for feet. Happy Chanukah, and we shall just now enjoy potato pancakes, donuts, and whatever else is good in the kitchen. God bless you all.